back, everyone, to the fourth episode or fifth?
Yeah,
I'm already losing count. Fourth episode of Kofi and Ren. Thank you so much for the support so far. We've got some more coming for you. And obviously, we are seeing we're on Zoom today because we couldn't be here in person, but we made a commitment to consistency, and we're not going to break it.
Yeah, damn straight.
Not this early in the year, not any time in the year as well. So, you know, a bomb could have fallen on one of our houses and we'll still be here. So make sure that you're locked and loaded and tuned in.
This is really just showing our versatility. It isn't really showing any flaws. This is just like, we can do it in person, but we've got the flexibility. We can do it elsewhere as well. So
exactly. So, without further ado, what are we talking about, Randall? What are we starting with? A lot of things happened this week. Yeah,
I think maybe let's just get a catch up on how we've been. How's the year been going so far? I know it's only going to be really the second episode of this year, but for us, me and Noah, we shot the last podcast I think a week before before New Year's Eve. Really a lot of time has passed since then. Obviously
a lot of things have happened.
Yeah.
Wow.
New Year's Eve celebrations, going to a wedding, that was really awesome. And just
I was at Falls festivals.
Yeah, that looked incredible. I was scrolling on my at the time, what's it called, the Explore page, and I just see you pop up. That's how you know you're big time, because you pop up on the Platypus
yeah, we're trying
thing. I was like, that's my boy, Noah DaCosta.
More on the way.
But yeah, so that's pretty niche. How's the year been for you so far? Maybe you can talk a bit about how Falls was for you as well.
Yeah, man. Well, I think to kind of talk about Falls and the kind of one in one. It's been a good start to the year for me. I think just in terms of how I've been feeling. I've just been feeling very motivated and kind of very optimistic about the future. Part of that is because of the whole Falls Festivals thing, which I'll explain for you guys in a sec. But also, I mean, I think just also released a Born and Bred episode a few days ago, and I was just really happy and proud of the conversation, so that's always really satisfying. I've got another one at the time of shooting this. It's still on the cutting room floor, still being edited, but I've got another one, that'll be ready to go soon as well. So I think it's just starting really good. I mean, there's still things I've got to do, I've started kind of writing down my goals. I think I just need to kind of spend a bit more time kind of planning out what the year and everything like that.
Yeah.
I can only just back it up, but it's been a good start to the year so far. I've been feeling good, and Falls Festival was a big part of that. Do you want me to go into that now or a bit later? Because it's out. That was a bit of a
we could go into it now if you want. We're here now, so
let's hear about your start of the year first, and then I'll tell the full story.
Okay. Well, I think for me, I did my planning for the year just near the end of it. So there's a lot of things that I kind of at the end of the year sat down, look back at the year, look back at how I was as a person, and I was just I really want change in these certain areas. And I think last year I was really happy just to go with the motions, just find my happiness a bit, find my joy, invest into friendships more intentionally, and just try to be a better person in conflicts. I said one of the things that I really wanted for the year was to just show a lot of better empathy for people, and I think I did accomplish those things. But in saying that, I looked at where I was and I was like, you know what, I'm currently single at the moment, and I just thought about the amount of time that I have on my hands, and what I think, because everybody in their head as a person, I feel everybody has their prime person or their picture in their head of where they know they can probably be if they gave themselves 100% of their effort.
Yeah.
And I thought about that, and I was thinking, what is an outlandish goal to say, or not even outlandish, or something that I know I could probably achieve throughout the year next year. Realistically, I'm not going to say, I'm going to the moon next year, or something I'm buying $1 million property. Not something unrealistic, but realistic goals for myself that I want and I think I can achieve. And I said in quarter 1 this year, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, stagnate what I want to accomplish. And I feel so far in the year, I'm really happy because I'm a bit behind on schedule on some of the study that I want. Recently, we are doing renovations at my family's house. My parents are putting in a new bathroom. So some of the weekends has been allocated just to like the whole day, just working on that. But in the mornings and in the evening, straight after work, like my mentality and my work ethic has been really good. And it's making me feel really happy because it's the person I know I can be at the moment. I don't know how long this is going to last. I don't know how long it's going to last because, you know, it's the start of the year. Everybody's motivated at the start of the year. But I just want persistence and dedication. And that's just what I want.
Yeah.
Even if I have a terrible week, I just want to be like a dog that's hungry. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
No,
you feel
I
me?
get you.
So
Yeah, no, 100%.
yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm going to plan, and I'm mentally where I want to be at.
Yeah.
So that's been me. Work's been fine. Work's been good. I've been on my own. My one of the people I kind of work with taking that extra long holiday break, but that's cool. I got the fort handled. But in saying that, you know what, it's made me think maybe in a few weeks' time I'm gonna take a little break myself. But yeah, everything's been going well.
Yeah.
Nothing to complain. But Falls Festival, let's talk about it. So maybe
man.
how can we maybe let's start about like how that occurred, what you were thinking at the time when you found out that you were gonna be, you know, doing Falls Festival, and yeah, how did that come about?
Yeah, man. So it pretty much came about from an old connection from like 2019. So I used to, so for context, I was at Falls Festivals for 3 days with Platypus doing their TikTok interviews and kind of online content and stuff like that. Not just by myself, but I had some of the people from the marketing team, well, one of the heads of marketing even helping out and everything like that, like filming. So I was just doing the interviews. They were doing the ones editing and putting on. And I was there for 3 days. I was paid to be there, all access pass. Got to interview and meet a bunch of like, you know, really big Australian and international acts, and yeah, it was an incredible experience. It was nuts. I mean, and that was my first like big festival that I got to go to, like big multi-day festival. And the fact that I was paid to be there was nuts. So how it came about was just like basically the connection I made from 2019. I worked in Platypus, like you know, in the shop in Emporium back then, and they used to sometimes occasionally get some of the people from the stores to do photo shoots. I went along to one of those, did one, and yeah, and then the head of social media was there, so she kind of was, you know, she got to meet her. We all kind of followed her, and that was, you know, and that was that, nothing that crazy, like but then I kept on kind of running into that same person this year at gigs, and one of the gigs I met him at was actually being backed by Platypus. So I was like, oh, fancy seeing you again, blah, blah, blah. And that she was there with one of the other kind of big heads of the team, the marketing team. And so talking to her about it, and then she kind of introduced me to the other person and then kind of introduced us. And so like, oh yeah, cool. Like, well, you know, like we might have some stuff coming up. And, oh, sweet. And I was like, oh, that's sick. And I remember being like, oh, that's cool. Like that could be something in the future. Then happened and I forgot.
Dude, one thing I'll say,
like,
can I just say,
yeah.
One thing I'm hearing from this so far is that your networking skills is unmatched. Yeah, I just know the head of Platypus. Yeah, I just met, hey, how you going? Met this person. But that's not something that just normal people just do. Like, but anyway, continue. I know you're just brushing past it, but that is actually a good thing. Like, that is sick.
You know what I'll say, man? Like, I think even with that, like, because I have a tendency, like, you know, anybody who knows me is watching this, which is going to be most people at this point. Like, big extrovert, love meeting people, blah, blah, blah. I'm generally always going to, like, get the details of the person that I'm meeting, even if I'm never going to speak to again or whatever. It's just almost a habit at this point. I kind of used to. It's funny, after last year, I was like, I think I've done enough networking. I'm just like, I say I'm networking. I'm just going to like events and all that kind of thing. I'm just, which is, you know, partially true. But I think after that, I got a little bit more respect for my networking ability. Because
No, come
And
on.
which is why for people it's like, don't sleep on it, because like you never know what something will be. Yeah, especially if you're networking within what you want to do and meeting people in that world, you never know what thing will open up to this. So, but anyway, fast forward, that was like kind of mid-year, or like, I don't know, September, a few months before I find out I'm doing this. Anyway, fast forward to December 14th, I get a text. Hey, we're doing our Plat Chat series. Like, we're doing our Plat Chats in Falls Festival. Do you want to do it? Do you want to be a part of it? Like we're looking for a host. Do you want to do it? And I was like, yes. And it was crazy because this was December 14th for the 29th, 30th, and 31st. So literally, like, in my head, the year is done. And just before the year is done, I get one more huge opportunity. It was crazy. Like last year was a year of big opportunities for me. And so obviously then started an email correspondence, blah, 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 blah. A few days before I went to Platypus, they said, "Oh, pick whatever you want. Like, you can wear this stuff to Falls and keep it. It's on us," and everything like that. And bro. And then the actual festival came along, and yeah, man, I was just I think it was really the second day where it kind of really set in that, hold on, like, holy crap, this is actually happening. The first day I was almost like in a daze, like. I was there, I was doing my thing, I was enjoying it, but I was just like, this is like crazy. Like I'm here right now. Like I didn't get to speak to this, but I just when I arrived there, Rico Nas performing. Later on, I'm just walking past the VIP, and she's walking back in to just chat to someone. I'm just walking, right up to her. Love the set. She's whatever. Like, it's just a passing thing. I'm just like, that's Rico Nasty in the flesh. Like it's just and it's just kind of like these people are just around,
Yeah.
And.
Almost like a fever dream in the first day. Like, how is this real? Like, what else?
Yeah, man. You know what? It was kind of I wouldn't say fever dream. I say the fever dream was more day 3. I'll say.
Okay.
The first day was more like, the whole thing was like a fever dream. So you're right. It was like a fever dream. But the first day was like a daze, and I was kind of like a bit like. I was enjoying the whole thing, but I was a little bit more in my head the first day, like kind of getting my footing, all that kind of stuff. But by the third day, I was like, okay, like I'm used to this. It'd also been a bit of a routine, like I was getting there by like about around 1 every time, and then leaving. I get home at like 11:50, 12 on the dot, and there was a really nice kind of routine building over those 3 days. And but that third day, it was just like, no, because that's when I got to. That's when I got to interview some of arguably the biggest acts there. So I got to interview some of the people from Ocean Alley. Got to interview across the whole 3 days. It was people, like Lastlings, Peach PRC, the Vans, Ocean Alley. Obviously, we were doing a lot of the concert goers as well, and all that kind of stuff, and it was just crazy. But I also I didn't get to interview this person, but I got to meet and a full chat with Pink Pantheress, who's like one of my favorite kind of big artists, which was just crazy.
When you told me that, when you were just like, oh yeah, I was just like casually talking to Pink Pantheress, like, I don't know, knowing you from like years ago, like I just would have never would have foreseen this day, and I was like, oh yeah, casual homie Pink.
But it was crazy, man, because you know what as well, that's like the third person that year, because it started with Koji. It was the middle of the year, it was Tyler. And
true.
Now Pink Pantheress. So I'm just like, I think coming off of that, so I'll wrap up the experience because I'm jumping a bit forward, but that whole experience was just really crazy, and I think that just like getting to go backstage, obviously the VIP access pass, I could go wherever I wanted pretty much, getting to go to that top balcony, like seeing the people, I'm gonna say ego-wise, seeing everybody line up and me being like, oh, sorry, do you mind if I get through? Oof, it's up to you, man. Spiritual experience, I'm telling you. Oh my gosh. Like both having access to like good toilets and the kind of catering in the back and the waters was nice, but I'm sorry, call me wrong, but having that thing like, let me this is
VIP.
Do you mind? And look, because I don't do it for the clout, I did what I could to not bask in it, but I could feel some of the stares being like, oh, we just walked.
Sometimes you have to cherish your wins and say like, nah, this is a good experience. Like this is good. This is good. Yeah,
definitely, man. And I really felt like that. So I think the whole time I was just like, and the whole time, particularly the last day, and then afterwards, I just like, wow, I'm really like, I'm here right now. Like I never would have dreamed any of this, but this is the dream. And I think it really like and just again, and everyone's so nice as well. Like I mean, New Year's comes along, and I got people, I got some of the people from Ocean Alley tapping, oh no, Happy New Year's or whatever, all this kind of stuff. I'm Arctic Monkeys performing. I'm just like, this is crazy. Like it was just nuts.
Yeah.
So really insane experience. But I think that it was just in terms of like the kind of effect and kind of how it going on to last year. I think that, so it did a few things, or it's been doing a few things. One, it's been obviously very like encouraging. I think like it's like I feel like I've always struggled with imposter syndrome, and it'll probably always be part of the journey and everything like that. But I think after that, I'm kind of feeling like that really feels like a real just like I'm here. Like now I'm not. Now I don't want to say I'm here. I'm not finished, and I haven't completed the arc yet. But it's just like I'm not just like
you're in the house. You're not knocking on the door.
Exactly.
Like
I'm not looking on the inside. And yeah, okay, sure. And now I'm maybe now I'm seeing that house has flaws. Sure, but I'm in now. Like I'm not at the front gate. I'm not walking up the thing. I'm there. And regardless of whether I'd love it if they hit me up for another gig like that in the future. But even if they don't, that's on my resume now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I can't take that off my resume. It's there, so it's kind of like that's there. So it's kind of that almost like that kind of permanent validation. Because the Tyler the Creator thing had a similar effect, but it kind of still felt like a one-off because it was such a crazy experience.
Yeah.
But this happening in the same year is like, okay, well, no, it's not a coincidence anymore,
Yeah.
So it kind of put that in my head. So it kind of like I'm up.
Yeah. I'm excited to see like what this like confidence and I don't know, feeling that you have of like acceptance in this community. What's that gonna do for you when like you're, I don't know, attempting to do new things or pitching stuff, or like sometimes just when you have confidence and you feel like there's the whole thing people have about and thought process of manifestation. I think it's kind of rubbish, the idea that if I just speak something, it's going to happen. I don't think that's really reality, but I do believe that when you have this confidence and when you start affirming yourself in things like, nah, this plan is for me, I can do these things, this is going to happen for me, that change in mindset, it helps you, because now maybe before when you're a bit scared to bust down that door and say I'm here, like I can do this. Now when you have that in you, that now this thing right here is for me and I'm going to get that, like it just that mindset
100%.
changes in people, and you can
100%.
do more things. Yeah,
definitely. And even what you said, I think what you described is what I think, because I do believe in manifestation, but what you described is what I think that is. Like, yes, speaking it, but then that shift in mindset.
Yeah.
And so with manifestation, it's like I don't think it's meant to be you just say it and it happens. Obviously, saying it helps, but saying it is priming your mind for it.
Yeah.
It's putting your mind in that position, which eventually kind of leaks into how you move, which eventually leads into. So, but yeah, like I think but when you say I'm looking forward to it as well, bro. Because like you say, like I think that coming into this year, I'm just like after that experience, like and this is the second part of kind of what Falls did for me as well. So like I think that like it just kind of further solidified. Like like this is what I want to do so badly. Like I want to be like a presenter, interviewer, kind of host, that kind of that kind of personality. That is what I want to do. Like I want to, like and kind of like you say, like I can't shake the feeling that I just know I can do it.
Yeah.
It's just like, and I think I'm over like thinking that I'm not going to do it, and I think that I think I've also felt after that I'm feeling less afraid of looking arrogant. Yeah. Because I think that what that did is that it was such a crazy experience for me. I think it really like almost like took the fog away from my eyes. So it's like now the kind of aspiration I'm looking for, it just got less blurry. It got like it's crystal clear now, because I can see that. I can focus on it better. And so all the noise around it, fear of looking arrogant, fear of this kind of stuff. I mean, obviously this stuff, it will never go away, but it's like, that's gone more into the background now. Like, obviously we're still early in the year, but, I'm planning on putting out a lot more kind of I want to start doing like music recommendations and kind of talks on like kind of little kind of things on TikTok. Like I want to start putting out more fit pics, all this kind of stuff. Like, and it's not because I'm trying to be an influencer, but it's like, because I'm trying to be that presenter, interviewer, host. But if I have to do things and people say, "Oh, you're an influencer now," okay, cool, call me that if you want to. But I know where I'm trying to. I'm trying to build. Like I'm no longer afraid of being misconstrued in that sense.
Yeah,
because when I got,
sorry, you go.
No, because just going to say, because when I got that opportunity, as well, and so this is because I was doing TikTok interviews. I'm not actually used to doing short form interviews. All of my stuff is kind of longer form, all born and bred, radio, obviously Kofi and Ren, like it's all kind of longer form stuff. So I was kind of, when I was doing it, I was really enjoying it. I was doing my best. And when I look back, I'm like, okay, this is good, but I can see notes for improvement in the future. So now I'm just like, cool, my camera presence as well. I want to, I want to make my camera presence more. I want to be more, and that's only going to come with more confidence and more belief that's supposed to be there. So
yeah,
I think I just kind of really just felt. I feel. I've been saying to my sister, I just feel so hungry for it. And the thing is, at this point, like I just know I can get it. Like I just know. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I know I can get it. If I had Tyler and Fools, then this is like. It's gonna happen, and I say gonna happen, but even the language there is like it's already happening.
Yeah,
and that's kind of that's what this year is, trying to look like. Yeah. But you want to say?
I wasn't gonna say this, but now this came to my mind, so I want to say it first. But I actually don't really like the actual definition of humility. Like I heard when I was reading it maybe last year, I was thinking about it, and it just. First of all, this is the word definition. I think it's the Oxford definition of what humility is: the quality of having a modest or low view of one's importance. And
I didn't even realize that was the true definition. Yeah, that's nuts. That's whack.
That is a very whack definition of humility. I think humility needs to get a redefinition, because there's nothing wrong with having a strong view of yourself, or high view of yourself. Even if you think of yourself highly, that's good. Think of yourself as highly. You are one of one. You are one of 8 billion people on this earth. There ain't nobody has the fingerprints that you have. Have some respect for yourself. If you have a goal in life, think that you can do it.
Definitely.
I'm the only person with these atoms, with these DNA. I can do that. The only issue I have is when you think of is other people lower than you. Sometimes people are lower than you, but everyone is a human at the end of the day. And when you start having that arrogance where you start kicking people under your feet and not serving other people, because we should all serve people in love. We shouldn't be trying to. But I really dislike that view, and kind of what you were talking about of like feeling in the house, not feeling that fear of like I'm doing short form content or I'm doing this and that. That's not arrogance. That's just having like some high respect for your high view of myself. I want to do this, so this is the things that I have to do. And if you think differently, cool. But if you that's why I didn't like really that's not you being humble. That's just you having confidence in yourself.
100%. I realized that I think that while you should always be kind and polite to people, I realized that a sense of strong confidence and self-belief, people often kind of mistake that as arrogance, or kind of because, and we've kind of heard this before, but it's like because maybe they don't necessarily see themselves on the pedestal that person sees themselves on. So when that person speaks to them, it feels like it's coming from below, but it's actually
like,
not.
Why should you say that? Why should you say that?
Exactly. Now, to be fair, that person should, and this is a big thing I believe in, you should always speak to people. Like, one of the reasons why I'm not afraid of being arrogant is, one, because I've got good people around me. Two, because that's not my heart. But also because, even now, like I always make a big effort to make people feel seen when I talk to them, look them in the face, ask them, really. And I just think that, like in terms of like the whole like and yeah, in me kind of having a stronger sense of, where I'm supposed to be, and even self-importance or whatever, which has a negative connotation. Obviously, it's not, you're not less important, but it's more just like, but I know my importance, and I'm not going to sacrifice that to. Do you know what it is? And I've mentioned this before. I don't know if I did it on the podcast, but definitely in person, and you'll know this. I think I heard it in church. Did I hear it in church? I don't even know. Even though the definition we just looked at is whack, when I think of what humility means to me, and that definition you just read versus what that definition feels more like modesty, and modesty is something that I'm against. I like the idea of being humble in terms of what humility means to me, which, unlike the definition, is, being aware of the fact that you are, you're not a more important creation than the next human. Like you're not inherently better. You're not, you're not like, you don't have more worth as a human being. You don't necessarily just innately deserve more respect or more decency than the other person. That's humility, right? But that's pretty simple. That still leaves all the room in the world to be like, okay, cool, like, you're not less of a human, but I know I deserve this opportunity. I know I deserve to be here. And then there's modesty, which modesty is all about covering yourself. Like, you kind of hear, like, when you kind of think of like the kind of olden days or whatever, and it's just like, they tell they tell like they used to kind of force me to dress modestly, and because everything had to, ankles can't even be showing, and that's modesty, which is just like trying to hide and muffle for the sake of everybody kind of feeling like everybody, just for appeasing people's feelings. Humility is just the knowing that you're not, you as a creation of God is no better than another creation of God, basically.
Yeah.
But that's all humility is. But having belief in yourself, like you say, there's still room for that. And I think this year, man, I'm just trying to, like, imposter syndrome will be there, but I'm just not trying to walk in it. And I think that I've been so afraid of being arrogant or being perceived as arrogant for so long. And I think also just have had a lot of self-doubt. But and that's actually, sorry, and I'll try and finish up with this false things. But I think another thing about this false thing that it did is that it showed me what I wanted.
Yeah.
And even in the interviews, right, from the first day of interviews to the third day of interviews, I think the third day ones were the best ones. Not just because a big part because I was more comfortable, but it's like I kind of got such a strong experience of what I want and what I want my life to be, being paid to do interviews and interact with just interesting people, and basically being paid to be me, basically. Because I experienced that, I'm just like. And I felt in the kind of first day where kind of my self-doubt held me back from being the best interviewer I could be. I'm just like, it's made it clear that it's like, okay, I don't necessarily need to get rid of self-doubt because, it's not nice to be rude to yourself. If I actually want to achieve these goals, which I now have tasted, I have to move out. It's almost like it's made it. I wrote it down somewhere, but I feel like it kind of made this kind of self-doubt and imposter syndrome, these kind of like foggy things that are like, oh yeah, I should get rid of them someday. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's going. It turned it into a tangible thing that I can grab and move out of the way. Do you get me?
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's now it's apparated as an obstacle in my way. And because I know what's waiting in front of me,
on the other side of it, you're
get
like,
this
nah,
shit out of the way now. Like, I'm just like, I want that. Like, I want
you're
it so
booting
badly.
it. You're booting it into the distance.
Literally,
I don't want this.
literally.
Nah, you're in my way of my goals now, and that's frustrating me.
Exactly. Versus before, what I wanted was still clear, but not that clear, and it kind of felt far off. Yeah. So the obstacles, so I didn't really see how the obstacles were blocking me that much because that's whatever. But now it's in front of me. I'm just, now that it's here, even, I can't be doing that. Like, yeah. I need to, I need to be able to, obviously this was an opportunity that was offered to me, and it's amazing, but I want more of these opportunities. That means I want to start asking, hey, let me do this, you know what I mean? I'm trying to be at like a Triple J in the future,
Yeah.
I need to be able to knock on and say, hey, this is why you need me on.
Yeah.
Even Apple Music in the future as well, kind of, Zane Lowe type things, Julie Adenuga. Julie Adenuga is one of my number one heroes, right? Like, I need to be able to be like, okay, I'm ready to move on to this, like, you
Yeah.
know, like,
Yeah.
and self-doubt's not going to work. And you can't please everyone as well. Like,
Definitely can't.
disappointing people or kind of people getting the wrong impression for me has been something that I've hated. It's been one of my biggest, things that I've tried to avoid my whole life. And it's like, look, the people who are meant to like you are going to like you. The people who are meant to dislike you are going to dislike you. The people who like you and then dislike you, the people who dislike you and then like, it's all going to happen how it's meant to be. But as long as you're moving in integrity, moving where you need to be, it is what it is. I'm just like, I just feel like the kind of clarity is there. Obviously, and again, look, we're in the first month of the year, so obviously there are going to be ebbs and flows. There are plenty of good times and low times coming in the future. But I feel like, the path is clearer.
Yeah,
And that's all from Force Festival.
I really want to capture this moment because, like, what you just said, I feel like for the 20 or so people who like listen to this, I really wish that everyone in life can capture that, because there's nothing more beautiful than seeing someone who has like a dream or someone who has a passion or someone who has a desire just like fully go for it. Like, when you see someone else win in life, if you hate that, you are kind of a sucker of a person.
Oh yeah,
no offense. You know what,
there are some words for that.
Yeah, there are some words for that. But I think for majority of people, I hope that people love to see other people win. And when they do, it's just like, it's the best thing just seeing someone flourish. So like, for what we're saying at the moment, and for what Noah was talking about, I think everyone in life, me included, can feel that way, where like you're in something, but you feel you're not really there. You're not really saying, can I really do this? You have those self-doubts in your head, like, is this really for me? Like, can I walk in this with confidence with my head high and tell myself, or are people gonna catch me out? Like, no, like, run for it. Like, be who you can be, and don't be unapologetic about it. And there's nothing wrong with that, because if you love something, people are gonna gravitate towards that. Like, people see how much passion you have for media, presenting everything, and they want to go to you because you're so much. Maybe there might be other people who are better than that in that scene, but if they don't have the love for it and they don't have the desire for it, like, you're so much more of a better fit, because you're walking 100%. In that, and it will just it'll shine. People will see that, and people will gravitate towards that. So that's for everyone, and I hope, like, for the listeners, like, come on, let's get it. Let's get 100%. Let's get the bread up. Let's get whatever we want out of life. Let's run to it with no self-doubt or any, yeah.
Can I add one more tidbit to that as well? Actually, this reminds me of a convo I was having with my sister yesterday, Jessie. The one thing that we had this whole huge kind of conversation about kind of goals and God and spirituality. And one thing that she said is that as well, right? And if you believe in God, this will make a lot of sense. And if you don't, I think it still makes sense. But basically, you're all familiar with things like kind of God is outside of time, right?
Yeah.
Like, we've kind of all heard that, right? Like we experience the past, present, and then the future, but then kind of God's outside of all of that. He's kind of in and around all of it at the same time, right? And so it's like, if we are, children of God, or God created us or whatever, that means that like our souls, if our souls are eternal, then it means that what it also means is that the person that you're trying to be or want to be in the future, like, you already are that person. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm probably going to paraphrase it really badly, but basically it's like it's the whole thing of just like who was I talking to about this? But like, basically, if you have a goal, don't start when the year starts. Start as soon as you have the goal.
Yeah.
Because from that moment, basically, like, don't wait to become the person. Be that person now. You already are that person.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, in terms of just kind of, I guess we were talking about it in kind of like a God spirituality. We were kind of linking it, but kind of, I guess I realized that I don't have the words to kind of paraphrase it correctly. So I'll just say this, that like, basically, it's that you already are the person that's going to that, that you dream of becoming, in that sense. And now, obviously, literally speaking, you might not be like, say, if your dream is to have like a family and a house, or and be financially secure, and you're not now. Obviously, you don't have those things yet, but it's not like you become a different person. Like, that person has already started, and it's like, if you already believe that you're there, going to be there, then that's going to make it easy. That's the journey's already started. It's not, you don't have to, let me do this first. And I think that I say that to say that this experience for me was like, again, that whole thing of just like, well, I'm not new to it, I'm in it now. No, you know what? I realized I should honestly cut that bit out, to be honest.
No, that's all going in, bro. I'm not cutting nothing here.
All right, I feel like I paraphrased that so badly. There's how it is in my head and how it came out. And it came out rubbish. But what Randall said.
Yeah, remember the last episode, that there was so many things that I thought I'd probably cut that out, but I ain't cutting nothing, bro. This is coming out tomorrow.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
But yeah, hopefully you got something from that message. That wasn't that bad, Noah. Like, on all honesty, I think I got what you meant. I'm pretty sure people listening, they would have got it as well. But maybe, we could probably move on from this as well. Maybe people are sick and tired of us preaching to them. Maybe they're like, oh yeah, enough positivity. Give us the crappy news. What actually happened? No, I'm joking. People don't think like that. So I think, what's been happening recently, and it's something that's caught my eye, and I thought maybe we can speak about it on the podcast, was Prince Harry
aka Black King Harry.
Black King. I'm not giving him that title, man. Hell no. What the hell, Black King? That's upset me. What the hell? Why would you even say that?
No, because one of the artists that he mentions, like, would calm him down, was a full Afrobeat artist.
What?
There's like some Afro in the memoirs. He mentioned one of the people that he listened to was like some like Sean C or Genesis.
Okay. So I was having a conversation with my family because they came on the news. He had an interview. I don't know who the interviewer was, but he was talking about his brother, and pretty much he was shaming his brother and about things that occurred in the palace, things that occurred between their relationship. And before I really had an understanding of the whole situation, I was just like, for me, first thing I'm always going to do with anyone who's going through something is always try to not to judge too quickly before I cast any stones. So initially I was thinking like, you know what, sometimes what if you have a really so the beef is between Harry and his brother. So what if you have a really troublesome relationship with someone? You've tried all means to make things better. You've been to counseling, you've been to whatever, and now all you have really is, maybe what if I come out and say something to the public? Maybe it's because they have obviously it's the royals, they have such a reputation on themselves, and they don't like that being fractured. Maybe Harry thought that maybe if I come out, maybe this will solve the relationship between my brother. And that was me being, empathetic. That was last year's thing. It's not this year. Yeah. I'm joking. I'm joking. But that's what I was like. I was trying to shoot him bail. But then I was thinking about this whole situation. I was like, damn. How many times have we heard about these people in the last year? It actually came to the point where I was looking at the TV and I was like, you know what? I'm really sick and tired of just looking at this brother, man. How many times is he going to come out with... He wrote a book. They're coming out with a Netflix special. Dude's showing up on Oprah. I'm like, allow it, bruv. Like, you're not that special, man. Like, okay, you came from the palace. Like, things were wrong. But you don't need to... You're doing way too much. You don't need to... If you have beef with someone, man, go sort it out. Why are you writing a book? It's so petty. It is the pettiest thing. It's like they're coming Kardashians now. It's like,
You know what? You know what though. You know. Okay, so for me, I think I'm thinking differently. So on a technical, like on a interpersonal level, I'm like, okay, well, yeah, like talking out your business like that. That's just like just face to face. But the few reasons why I'm not, I mean, I'm sick of the headlines. Like I'm sick of hearing about it. Like I'm really getting bored of it. But the reason why I'm not mad that it's happening, I just wish I didn't have to hear about it, is because one, anything that damages the royal family's reputation, I'm down with. Like I'm cool with that. I am totally fine with the royal family's just like their importance getting lower. Like this, the fact that the royal family is looking like the Kardashians
yeah,
is great because I'm just like, yeah, like the royal family shouldn't exist in the first place. Like it's like that whole thing, like that whole the crown you wear, that stolen jewels, that palace was built on on our grandparents' backs. Like it's like I don't
yeah.
I don't so the fact that
Those
like,
were
they kind of
those
got
were
this,
South African diamonds. I just have to put that out there. We're still trying to get those back, but it's
yeah,
okay.
exactly
Go on.
exactly so I'm just like I am totally fine with the royal family getting like their name put in the mud. I'm sorry, blah blah blah, whatever. Hopefully
Our 60
hopefully,
our 60
this,
and above demographic is just they've dropped right now.
well, look, if our 16 above demographic is not of a royal family lineage, they'll get what we're talking about. It's a very different experience. It's a very different experience. Look,
Yeah.
I'd love to love the royal family, but I just know that I know that their ancestors are the ones that sent boats to my ancestors, and so but I say that to say I don't mind the royal family. They can like, seeing them kind of be a little less important in that way is nice, and also I think that I'm not like I think that while I think how he's kind of handling this is kind of messy, I think that the royal family and kind of how they do things is like it's like deep tradition. So it's like and a lot of the issues are kind of in relation to that. So you kind of said like they kind of would have had counseling and stuff like that. I don't think they would have because a lot of the cause of those relational issues are like tradition and systemic. So there's nothing he can really do to kind of change things but rock the boat. Because remember, because this guy, one thing I do respect about him is that some people like him, some people don't. I'm cool with him. I'm cool. But one thing he said is that he didn't realize he had kind of no understanding of racism until he met Meghan Markle, and Meghan Markle didn't really have understanding of that either. Until she. No. Bear with me now. First of all, it's not that crazy. This is literally one of the princes of the English royal family.
Nah, man. I'm not giving this guy bail, man. I'm not.
No.
You know what? Wait, can I get this point up? Do you know what he said on an interview? You know what he said on an interview? What? This dude. First of all, it's the 17th interview. We're sick and tired of it, but I'll continue. He comes on and he says, "You know what? You know when the paparazzi caught me wearing the Nazi outfit at the party? It was actually my brother and his wife that suggested that I do that." I was like, bro, what are you on about? You in a Nazi outfit and now you're saying, oh, people suggested to me to wear that. It's like, jump in a fire. Oh, okay, I'm gonna do it, bro.
No, but you gotta understand me. I'm not throwing him a bone. What I'm saying is that he grew up in a world. I'm not giving him any excuses.
Yeah.
I'm saying he grew up in a world where that wasn't a part of it. Like the school he would have gone to would have been all whites. The world around him would have been all whites. Like I think they only got their first black butler like a few years ago. And so I'm not giving him a pass. It's the same reason. It's the same reason that experience is why I don't like the royal family. But what he's saying is that since dating Meghan Markle, it opened his eyes. It's like, oh dang, and he said that himself that I didn't realize, but now I'm going to understand it. I can't believe it. And so I think part of him kind of running his mouth is kind of all this kind of stuff is because he's kind of like experiencing he's still filthy rich and still a prince and all that kind of stuff, but experiencing the world in a way that he wasn't before. And then that's the same for Meghan Markle as well, because Meghan Markle, even though she's because one thing she said in the interview as well is that even though she's mixed race, she's half black, half white, she's pretty she looks tan white basically, and she says that she didn't really grow up with much of an experience of racism, and her mum didn't really give her conversations about it because it didn't really come up that much. But then when she started dating Harry and became a part of the royal family, that's when all the racism came out. Like all the British tabloids were talking about how terrible she was. She would walk and they would say, "Look at how she like." The press really went like I know this. Yes, it all happened on top of them being filthy rich, but they were really going for it. Like everything she would do was just like a problem. And then this was like both from the press and from the royal family inside of it. Like when they had their kid, apparently like the royal family was saying, "Oh, he's a bit dark." That kid,
Wow.
that kid is the same color as that kid is the same color as snow. You know
That
like and they
It's an off-white. It's an off-white. That's so nuts.
And so
That's,
yeah, and so I say that to say that like I think that with where he's coming from, all the kind of talking and conversations, that's not going to change anything in that family because it's like a centuries old tradition. So him kind of being outside of it and then writing this book and all this kind of stuff. I mean, the book is called Spare because that's kind of what his nickname was in the royal family.
yeah.
Because obviously he wasn't, because his brother is the next in line for the throne, so he will never become king. So he was kind of called Spare. That was a nickname in the house. So it's like it's kind of like, is it petty? Sure, but it's also like I think he's being genuine. Like I think that whether or not, my hypothesis is that because with him dating Meghan and kind of all that kind of stuff, and then also him kind of being the troubled child of the royal family, that kind of stuff, I reckon that he's like, oh cool, if they're gonna come for us, then let me give them something. That's the vibe I'm getting from it, which is why it doesn't bother me at the end of the day.
Yeah. I mean, they took the Kris Jenner blueprint and they're running with it because they're just kind of monetizing messiness at this point.
For sure. And that element is always going to be kind of whack. But I'm just kind of like, look, in the system as messed up as I'm not talking about even celebrity, but that kind of royal family stuff. I don't mind the quote unquote purity of that getting stained with some messiness. Like it's like if we're going to be messy and monetize it, then I don't mind that money funding, a few smudges on that, Yeah.
But I just say like I think as a person, like it's just you it's not the right way to move, man. Like
no, it's not.
It's not the right way to move. Like I get what you're saying, that in the grand scheme of things, like this is probably good because it's breaking down what actually happens on the inside of the royal family, and what's in the dark is now coming to light. But just I'm getting tired of looking at this dude's face on the news. I'm getting tired of him just yapping, bro, I don't care that he pushed you and you fell over a dog bowl. Like, why am I hearing about this on a Tuesday, man? Do you know how much stress and people are going through in life, and I've got to hear this nonsense? Yeah.
You know an example actually of that kind of whole thing of like someone trying to monetize it. It's kind of whack. I remember a few years back. It's like 2020, maybe 2019. Like, because Kirk Franklin's got like a pretty tough relationship with one of his kids, his son.
Yeah.
I don't know how many kids he has, but he's got at least one son. And I like Kirk Franklin. Like, I think that in the world of like famous and rich Christians, I feel like Kirk Franklin's a real genuine dude. Every interview he's in, he's always like, look, like I'm not a perfect guy. Like I'm just trying to follow God. Like I'm, I have something like I walk into, I feel like I'm the most broken in the room, and that kind of stuff. He's always open about the fact that he's not perfect, right? And so his son, who's got a bad relationship with, his son posted the audio of some argument they were having.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and then and obviously like Kirk Franklin's cussing up a storm. It sounds like a sermon, but he's cussing. Yeah. And I remember like
it was not a good look at all.
And that's the thing. And I like the internet's reaction, because the internet was like, why are you sharing this? And that's just like, because it was the son, regardless of what's going on with those two, it was the son trying to like get back at him by just kind of like smearing it and making it messy. But because in Kirk Franklin, I don't know the family, but because Kirk Franklin seems to have a lot of integrity and has kind of moved in that his whole career, from what I've seen, he had the backing, because people are like, well, yeah, like, okay, that's wrong, and yeah, it's a bit wild hearing him cussing. I think some people were a bit upset. I'm like, at the end of the day, it's like, this guy never said he was perfect.
Yeah.
This guy never said he was perfect, and that was you trying to, and so that is what Harry's doing. So on like a systemic level, just kind of like toppling white supremacy, royal family thing. I like it, but on a personal level, nah, it's messy. And again, like you say, it's annoying hearing about it. Like, I don't care. Like, seeing that come up in the news is like, this isn't the news I'm trying to hear right now.
Yeah, yeah. I would have so totally understand if he was just doing a regular interview and all this stuff came up and he was just speaking his truth and he said, you know what, this happened, my relationship with my brother and the royals is not good. There's been a lot of things that's happening, but I still have love for them. But it's just the fact that it's intentional. You're intentionally like that just it's not a good look, man. Going out and say I'm gonna write a book now, I'm gonna sit down with Oprah, I'm gonna do all this stuff. Like at a certain point, like, okay, yeah, it's wrong, but you know that also is like still your family. Like, imagine it was someone else and like that happened, and then they're like, no, I'm just gonna air out my brother and write a book about it. That just, you know, like, but
yeah.
The whole
actually,
you
go.
The whole concept of the royals being tainted, I love that. That's cool. Like, nobody should be put in that amount of stature and admiration for just being rich and have a lineage of their name. Like, that's kind of crazy. But in the sense, like, you just strip back and it's still a family and it's messiness. That's what I don't like. And why are we hearing about it so much? Like, you're rinsing it now. You're rinsing messiness.
You know, I think the last thing I'll say on that, because as it's talking about, the reason why, I agree with you. I think it is messy and it's not good that family's doing it. I think the reason why it doesn't irritate me as much as it irritates you is because I think when I look at what Harry's doing and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's not great. Character-wise, it's not great. Family-wise, that's great. That's not great. But then when I think there are two things. When I think of, one, what that family is, like, because again, it's not good to, but when I think of like, for all the wrong Harry's doing versus all the wrong the family is doing, obviously they're not going and talking in tabloids, but just by functioning and perpetuating that system, I think that the wrong that the royal family is doing is worse than what Harry's doing. Harry's is more annoying because it's newer and it's like it's causing like we're seeing it, but them being in that system and perpetuating it, I think is worse. And I also think, even though I think like a lot of this is kind of for clout, I do think that
he wants to see change.
I do think that he's kind of had like a moment where it's like he's kind of like learned about the world, whether, and maybe that was bound to happen because he was maybe a bit of the odd one out in the family, whatever, I don't know. But I feel like even though the moves at the moment are kind of don't have that much integrity, I think that like the change he's made is a good change for a person who comes from that family. Is it as far along as maybe people kind of living a regular life? No, but it's like it's a lot more than what the family's doing. Like the efforts he's kind of making to kind of, you know, be in touch with things, you know. And so yeah, I don't forgive it. And again, I don't want to hear about it. But I think that it doesn't irritate me because when I think of Harry, I think royal family. When I think royal family, I think that's way worse.
Okay,
yeah.
Fair enough. Should we go on to our next topic, or should we end it here with another one?
Oh, how long are we going for?
I feel like we've been going for some time. Maybe we can do one more and then wrap it up.
Yeah, maybe one more.
I think the topic that we spoke about, what was it? We had like a whole preach sermon on self-doubt.
Oh yeah.
No, we didn't know that we were gonna have. So if anybody's actually listening at this point, like before the actual podcast, we just have like these random ideas that we want to talk about. But this is legit just free conversation. It's not. It's not meditated. Like, say this at this point in time, and so this is raw, straight convos. So, yeah, okay. One thing that we could probably wrap up, because it's just recent news, is that I think it was this morning that we found out that George Pell, I think he's 80-something, just passed away he just went into surgery. I saw on my Herald Sun, I think he went into surgery for like a hip surgery. And I think just because of old age and of that nature, I think it went well. I'm not too sure on the surgery, but because it was a big surgery, and obviously when you go through things like that, there'll be loss of blood, yada yada, complications to health. He passed away, and I don't really have any talking points on this, but I thought it was just a good idea to just talk about, you know, maybe what are our thoughts on it?
Yeah. I think oh gosh, there's a someone, I saw on Twitter someone had like a really good take on it. What was it? They were saying oh yeah, it was R.I.P. Bozo.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I mean, I know that's rude, but I mean,
Yeah,
look,
the dude, he's not even 6 feet in the ground yet, and we're rinsing him. But
to be, yeah, like I'm just like, yeah, like I mean, this is a dangerous one. Obviously, I've got to still be respectful of human life and all that. But I had forgotten about this guy because the last time I saw his name in the tabloids was when several people pointed the finger at him for, you know, sexual assault and that kind of stuff, and he got away free because he's very in a very, very powerful position, and he's a pope. And not a pope, sorry, a cardinal, whatever.
Yeah.
And so, you know, call me wrong for it, but good riddance. Good riddance, to be honest. Like, because people aren't just saying that for fun. Like, no one gains anything by making those kind of allegations. You know what I mean?
Yeah, except for the Michael Jackson victims, but that's another story. I'm just kidding. I'm just trying to put light of the situation because this can get very actually deep.
Yeah.
So I think my thoughts on it, I think my immediate thought when I think about this situation goes straight to just the whole Pope Cardinal situation, and this could divert into a long conversation, and this may not, but you know, as human beings, as people, like, we can't deny or run away from the fact that we all have sexual desires. And now that sounds mad, but I'm gonna try clean this up. Not in the sense that people we think about young boys. No, not the case at all. But we have desires, and we have things that we want for the opposite sex. You know, sex is a good thing. Like, it's good. Like, people enjoy it, and it was made for a reason. But the fact that we have these cardinals, these popes, nuns as well, and just the whole thought of subsistence for that long periods of time.
Abstinence is what you mean.
Sorry, abstinence. Whoa. Subsistence. Sheesh. Abstinence from sex. And I just, like, when I think about that, like, it's just like, damn, like, maybe because it's in a community, like, maybe if it's not really being spoken about, like, who was the brunt of these desires that was just going unmet. Like, obviously they have very good intentions behind it, that, you know, they want to serve God for the rest of their lives. They want to, you know,
as in the people who made that rule, obviously not the people doing it, but yeah, that kind of rule of abstaining entirely from that.
Even the people doing it, they have good intentions, because they're thinking, I'm you know, giving my life away for God, and I'm just gonna serve Him for the rest of the life. I don't need a wife. I don't need that. You know.
Yeah.
But, you know, madness goes on in the world. Like, people, like, if now we're not gonna have, like, a normal conversation about those desires and those things that's gonna happen. Like, now, what the things that you're doing in the dark is touching boys. Like, even saying that, it's just like, makes me feel ill.
I think one thing that I've never understood about because, you know, obviously that happens, that, you know, seems to happen a lot in those kind of, you know, kind of, that we've heard this story. Everybody's heard this story for years and years of just kind of the kind of priests and pedophilia and all that kind of stuff. For years and years and years, it's been the case. And one thing I've never understood is that, look, if so you said that you're supposed to abstain, you're struggling with that, you're about to break it. This will sound real thing, but surely like just like find like a sneaky link that's your age on the side, or or go to like a brothel or like low key. I'm
I'm
not
not. I'm not.
co-signing that, but
Yeah.
what
Okay.
I'm saying
Okay.
is just like I'm just like why why are you like it's just the fact that I'm kind of it's I'm not like it's like why go to the I've never well I mean okay I have an idea of why that happens, but it's like going to the that's the worst extreme of it. I
Yeah.
just don't understand the confidence. But I think the reason why it happens obviously because it's a proximity. I think it's a proximity thing. It's a power thing. I think for all the stories that we hear come out, there are way more that we haven't heard.
Yeah.
And uh, and I think and on what you're saying as well, like it's like it's like the idea of abstaining from sex entirely to just serve an honor is an honorable idea. But I don't think that idea is actually lined up with what is I don't think that is lined up with what is truly holy or whatever or because if that was what if it was the holy thing and I'm speaking from a Catholic / Christian standpoint, if that is the holy thing to do, then nobody should, not just priests and popes or whatever, but nobody should, everybody in the world should abstain
Mm.
from, from getting married and then, having sex or whatever. So it doesn't really, that's a rule that I just think is just like, ultimately, I mean, I don't see that rule as, that's a rule to me that, and I don't mean any, disrespect to Catholics if you're listening to this, but that's one of those things that I'm just like, that's one of the things that some of the source, the kind of rubbish that the Romans added onto it
Mm.
when they've kind of found Christianity and then Catholicism. That's kind of some of the source they kind of put there for no reason. It's like God didn't tell you. I don't remember God telling anyone to do that. Like there were some people that chose to, and I can see why it would help. Like I'm not saying abstinence is something that doesn't help your focus and all that kind of stuff, but to it's yeah. I just think that it's a very I just think that it's a very dramatic and it's a rule that's not lined up. And then I'll just add on top. I'll just add to the fact as well that because obviously it's like these people are in powerful positions. Like I think there are obviously people being appointed that aren't, it's like it's of the belief that people are genuinely anointed and given gifts and pastors are meant to be pastors and all that kind of stuff. But there are a lot of people who end up in those positions and shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot in those kind of cities. It's been happening for hundreds and hundreds of years with Catholics. Happens with Christians. Happens with Islamic people as well, Jewish people. It happens with everybody of people being put in those positions and someone saying, "Oh, this has been ordained by God," and it's just really because they were in the right place in the right time. They had the right connections. They kind of gave off the right impression, and I think that's also like a part as well. Like we need to, I guess I'm not sure where I was going with that thought, but I think we'll bring it back to George Pell.
Some people are just not made for it. Maybe
they're just not made for it, and people like George Pell should have never been in that position in the first place. And so the fact that
that's something that I want to say as well. Like I don't think like it's not possible. Like I don't think Mother Teresa was going crazy out here. I don't think she had things on the down low that that we're gonna find out about. Like she was doing crazy things on the low. I don't think that at all. And I do think that maybe probably popes that have sustained. Maybe they had friends that they spoke about things with, like I have these desires, like they could talk about it, but it didn't become a point in time where it was like too much for them. And I think what I really just want to like try to thinking is like, if you're ever in that position, if this doesn't just go for if you're like a pope, but we're speaking about George Pell, so I'll try to keep it on here. Like you were a pope, it came to this point in time where you had the sick thought of touching people. You had the sickest thought of doing these disgusting, vile things. Like you should have got longer than 2 years, bruv. But you got 2 years. Okay, the system's corrupt. Why not just don't have we're just talking about humility, ego, and stuff like that. But another thing that doesn't get spoken a lot about is shame. Like, don't have too much, like, don't feel too much shame where you can't just step away from that. Bro, just go off and marry someone, man. Like, if it's coming too much, step down for it. Think about the other pastor, Carl Lentz, in New York, that was doing crazy things, you know? Or, what's his name? John Gray. I know there's going to be people who will listen to this and think I'm wrong for saying this.
What did John Gray do again?
Just cheating, pretty much. But if you're ever in the position where you're starting to do these things, and you know you're not really living up to your expectation, and you know you're not really in this anymore, why are you there? Why are you still around? Leave. It's not only better for yourself, but it's better for the community around you. And I think that's conversations we kind of have to have a bit more. When you know you're not in the situation that you probably should, just leave, because it's going to be better for everyone. If you're in a job that you know you're not in it anymore, leave. Don't stay there and just be a nuisance to everyone. But yeah.
Oh, sorry. Put me pause for 1 second. Sorry. Is this there's a Facebook in the door. Sorry. Someone's at the door. I checked out. Someone got it. I think just I did as well. Like, I think that, yeah, like I think, yeah, like just step down if you're kind of in that situation and you kind of feel that kind of thing. Step down. I also think, though, it's worth mentioning that when it comes to like people like George Pell and stuff in particular, and a lot of people with those kind of things, I think that it's important to remember that for people like him, I was about to say allegedly, but he's dead now, so there's no, you can't defame a dead person. That for those people in those, I think we don't like to think about these people. I think kind of enjoy the position of power. It's not just about the acts, but it's about the power as well. Like, and for a George Pell, I think that, the reason why it kept on happening is because he probably enjoyed it. He knew he could get away with it, and he didn't want to lose his position as a cardinal who is very wealthy and can go anywhere he wants in the world, and everybody, and everybody, respects him. Some countries even legally have to, do things, regards to him, like, and so, like, because to be a cardinal, that's one of the highest ranking positions in Catholicism. The Pope being the number one, Cardinal being like the next one down, or it's very high up there, and that's across the whole world. And and that's one of the, and Catholicism is one of the most powerful, religions in the world. And so like that's so much power and wealth, and he was probably I don't like to envision what it was like, but I mean that's a world in which he enjoyed as well. And I think that's an important thing is to remember that, like in the terms of like a Carl Lentz or a John Gray, I think that's where you can be like, look, take a step back, take a step away, before it gets to like if you're kind of feeling urges, take a step away from whatever your position is and just get back to yourself. But I think when it comes to people like George Pell, it's not. I think it's a different conversation. I don't think it's a matter of step away, because I don't know what his life story is, but he would have been lined up for this from early, right? So it's like it's and he would have gotten that taste of power early. Like this is someone who was, obviously every baby is born innocent, sure, but this is someone who was kind of, their mindset was wrong and they were corrupted early. Yeah. So it's a matter of more than even like, yes,
I think
it's more what would you say?
I think he probably went into this role with really good intentions, and he was like, had a good mindset at first. Same with Carl Lentz. He was a phenomenal pastor before those little temptations happened. But I think along the way, like we were talking about with the abstinence of, sex or whatever it is, certain maybe things where he was feeding off other people in that same community who had disgusting thoughts. He got corrupt. There was no checks and balances in there. And then that it was a snowball effect where it just got worse, and then that's how these people got affected. So I don't think like it was early that his mind was corrupt. I think he was probably a good person, but he was in a position where the snowball of those wrongs just occurred.
That's actually I'm glad you made. That's actually a very valid and potential thought too, because that's actually so true. Like the community of power.
Yeah.
That's actually a very good point. Because there was clearly, for him to keep doing it the whole way through, there was other
people that was allowing that stuff to happen.
And kind of looking the other way. So yeah, I think it also kind of speaks to the importance of speaking up as well. Like, not, and I say this not in terms of, if you're a victim, you got to speak up. Like it's that's your trauma. Like, deal with it how you can. Like, you're not forced to do anything. But for us on the outside to actually like not just take these things as they are, like be critical. And if there's something amiss in whatever, if you belong to a workplace or a faith system or a community or a sporting club, or if you belong to some sort of group or community and you're kind of seeing like, and you're seeing bad things that call it out. Like, call it out. And if you are ejected of that result, it's better to be ejected from that than to stay in it and then be a part of, and then be blind to what's going on,
Yeah, 100%.
It's just so important to kind of be a part of the systems. And George Pell George Pell was terrible. Like I said, R.I.P. Bozo. But he's, it's more the it's the amount of people around him, not the victims, but the people in power and that saw kind of just look the other way because
turned the other cheek.
Dang, the ones who kind of turn the other cheek. You can't turn the other cheek to that kind of evil,
Yeah.
And so
I think this pod has gone.
I'm getting a B-roll while you're talking. No, you can keep talking though, because otherwise it's gonna be silence for the podcast.
Okay. Oh yeah, true. I kind of forget we have a podcast going as well. But honestly, I think we could probably wrap that up as well because it's been. I think we could probably make 2 parts out of this because we had actually a really good, genuine conversation. So that would be good. But we really hope that you enjoyed this pod. This was probably as real as it's gonna get, and it's always gonna be good conversations going forward. We're staying consistent. We're going to be putting out episodes week after week after week. And if you listen to this, thank you so much. Hopefully in the future we'll get some, I don't know, maybe audience participation. Maybe you guys could ask a question. But we don't want to do something like that if it's just going to be one Donnie asking one question. So, but maybe sometime in the future we can do something like that. But I think one thing I want to say before we wrap up is just prayers to the victims of that system, prayers to the people who have gone through any situation that has been similar to that. And I hope it was nobody that was listening to this. So, but if it was,
I think
these people...
What we'll do is as well, we'll put some of the helplines and kind of resources for those people in the description of this video.
That would be really good. Yeah. And it's a bit sad because for this situation, justice was never really served. But you know what? This just brings conversation. It brings people to talk about this more, and let's hope that in the future, none of this nonsense can be happening to anybody else. But so prayers for those people. And okay, I want to end this on a good note. So
that's fair.
One thing you're excited for this week, Noah, what's that?
Oof, man. I'm getting paid.
Oh, sheesh! Come on.
That sounds super capitalistic, but I'm getting my work check and my Falls Festivals check, so it's gonna be nice. I know I've got to spend it on a bunch of car fixes and obviously put it into savings, so it's not as much as when you kind of delegate everything like that, it kind of goes back to normal. But it's gonna be a juicy one, so I'm keen for that. I'm gonna get a haircut. I'm gonna get my locks retwisted.
Come on.
I'm about to be like the year starts really truly when I get my lineup, my retwist. So I'm keen for that.
Fresh.
And I know. Honestly, I'm looking forward to just more of just more of the week and just I'm just keen to get the ball rolling. You know what I mean? And just keep doing things and keep editing more, putting more content out. I'm just keen for more days of life. Honestly, that's what I'm at.
Yeah, me too. I think for me, I'm excited. Just for Friday, I know me and my father would, like I said earlier in the podcast, we're doing bathroom renovations. So just to get that done.
Shout out Uncle Richard.
Yeah, shout out Uncle Richard and Auntie Desiree. And it's my birthday coming up soon, so I just booked for the homies.
Yes, indeed. Very keen for that. We have a birthday tomorrow on Friday, by the way.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, true.
No, so not tomorrow. Day after. Yeah.
Friday. Yeah.
That'll be fun.
So I'm excited for that. I didn't know I booked it, bro. Place had $100 reservation fee, so I'm taking you guys to bougie places, But,
oh no, I'm here for it.
Yeah,
like I said, this month I can afford it. I don't know about the rest of the year, but
it's gonna be nice. So I'm keen for what that's gonna be. And I just hope to have a good this mindset, productivity, just to continue rolling. So it's been your boy Ren or Randall, and
it's me, Kofi or Noah. And yeah,
we hope you have.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yes, hope you have an amazing week, and we are out. Peace.
Peace.